Hi guys, it's Emily from Nobel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my biggest books that I've read and ones I want to read, or I'm going to read. I'll put I'm going to read because I will read them. Don't know when. I was tagged to do this by the lovely Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. I am apologising right now if you are struggling to hear me. I've got a stinking cold and hay fever and I'm feeling rotten. But this video has to go live on Friday. Otherwise I don't have anything else pre-filmed. Why did I not pre-film? So this might not be as long as other videos because I'm struggling to talk. And for someone that's a chatterbox like me, this is a struggle. So excuse me if I'm drinking as well. So, I struggle with big books. They intimidate the hell out of me. And I really struggle. I'm learning how to read them. Sometimes you have to read them fast, sometimes you have to read them in chunks. A lot of the biggest books that I've read have been classics. But I have read the Seven Sisters series, they're quite long books. I do tend to shy away from them because they take so long to read and I don't know how much I absorb of them. But I'm getting better. I have plans to I think for me, buddy reading them is the thing that works. I think that's the only way I can realistically do this. Because otherwise it's just too hard work, it really is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 5 books, actually I've only got 3 to show you, but I'll tell you the 5 biggest books that I've read, and the 5 books that I'm going to read, and then I've got 2 big books on my shelves that are not quite as big. Now to me, big is anything 600 pages and over, but 500 plus is a bigger book. So 600 and over is big. And I need to read it slowly. Anything 700, you're like scaring. But yeah, they are big books, scare the pants off me. So I'll tell you in size order what the 5 biggest books that I've read are. Starting from smallest to biggest. The smallest out of the 5 big books I read is Middlemarch by George Eliot. I read this last year. Did enjoy it, but I think I read it too fast. So I didn't really get to absorb enough of it. George Eliot's really hit and miss with me, and this is alright. And I remember quite a lot about the Dorothea Brooke and Tertius Lydgate. But it's not like a favourite, and it was not one I enjoyed as much. So that was quite big. I did enjoy it, but not as much as some of the other books. Next is one I think I read last year or the year before, and that's The Brontes by Juliet Barker. I read this over 3 months with Tori from Good Strong Words, and this was a big success. I absolutely loved this. This is literally telling you the whole story of all the Brontes, and it's a book that I am definitely going to reread. It's one I actually kept, and I don't always keep all my big books. But it literally tells you from the Brontes' parents to all of them. It talks about the siblings that they lost. It really does go into a lot of detail, and I found this so fascinating. And this was 930 pages, not counting all the notes at the back. So I think this one was one I read over 3 months, and that gave me time to really absorb it and enjoy it. Now the next one was one I read last year for the Walpole Along, and that was The Mirror and the Light. It's upstairs. I couldn't carry all of them. Like I said, but that one I think I read it, I was supposed to read it over 3 months, and I think I read it over 2 months. And that was 875 pages. Oops, I did those in 2 different orders. Oops. No, I did read them in the right order. So The Mirror and the Light was by Hilary Mantel. It's the last book in the Walpole series. And it was good, but it felt bloody big. It felt like a real mission, and it felt like a real struggle to get through. I've kept it. I'm going to reread the whole series at some point, but right now I'm still recovering from the Tudor Along, so I'm avoiding Tudor books for a little bit. Now the next one is my favourite book, and it's probably one of my favourite books of all time. I just love this book, and that's David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Again, I'm struggling with Charles Dickens books. I really am struggling. But this was the best. I think when I started off reading David Copperfield, I read Great Expectations, then David Copperfield, and both of them are my favourite Dickens. But this is the best. Oh my god, I love David Copperfield. I love everything about this book. It's just like the best Dickens ever. It's just one of my favourite classics if you don't count the Brontes. It's just amazing. If you like classics but you like people that you can love, I love David Copperfield. I love so many characters in this. I hated Uriah Heep, but I so loved this book. It was just amazing. It's like one of my favourite books. I got this as a gift from Tom, who was previously Tom Reads Things, and oh my god, it's just the best book. It's beautiful, it's stunning, it's just, oh, it doesn't feel big. I think I read it with Charlie from Charlie Brooke, my sister, but it was just so amazing and I just loved every second of it. And then the biggest book that I've read is, I think, Bleak House by Charles Dickens, which I read last December. And because I read it in 1 month, I really don't think I got a lot out of it. I pushed it big time. I am never reading a Dickens in a month again. Did that last month as well. I'm never doing it again. I just didn't absorb it. I read it, skim read it, and I really didn't get the best out of it. So I will read that again. I know Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf is doing a read along for it over the summer, but it's too close to when I read it. So yeah, it's just, but I need to reread it. I will reread it at some point. Looks like, oh yeah, the reason why it looks like I've got big books is because I've kind of cheated. So I have got 5 big books on my shelves. Technically, one of them is in 2 bits because it came in 2 parts, but they are big. I'm going to have a drink because if you're actually hearing any of this, it's going to be good. So again, I'm going to go smallest to biggest. And then show you what I've got, and then I'll show you the honorary mentions. So the smallest out of these big books is what I'm reading in December with Gaia from Garathena, is The Missing Sister by Lucinda Riley. All of her books are big. This one is 798 pages, which is the biggest of all of them, apart from Parcel, which I believe is very big as well. But these books are massive, and I've read all of them. I've read the first few, and I love them. They're easy to read, they're easy to fly through. I read them in a matter of weeks. But this is the one I'm most intrigued about because we don't know anything about The Missing Sister. We really don't. And so I'm just like, it's 804 pages if you include the author's note, and I will include that actually. So that is so big, but this is about the sister that's missing. And we're going to find out stuff, and my mum loved it, but she'd have said it left it with loads of answers, questions. So the fact that she's got Parcel, so I can read that straight after, is brilliant. But this is massive. But it's one I'm super excited about. I can't wait to read this. It is going to be read on December, but what am I going to do? Now the next 4, what I would like to do, make this video a little bit different, is put it out there. I need to read these next 4, but I need someone to read them with. So can you please let me know in the comments down below if you would like to buddy read any of these with me, because I think realistically, or if you think I should host a read along with them, let me know down below, because otherwise I need something to make me push me to read them. Okay, so let me know down below. The next one is one I think I'm reading this with, actually though, this one I'll read with Gem. I previously read with Gem. We're going to reread this, and this is The Crimson Petal and the Light and the White, and this is 831 pages, so I will be reading that with her. So if any of you other wants to join us, that would be good. This is one that my sister Charlie from Charlie Book Reads maybe picked up. I think Charlie from Charlie's Heathcote spoke about this. Sugar, an alluring 19-year-old prostitute in the brothel of peculiar Mrs. Castaway, yearns for a better life, and when she is visited by William Rackham, the somewhat reluctant heir to Rackham Perfumeries, she begins a descent through the strata of 1870s London society that offers us intimacy with a host of lovable, maddening, and superbly realised characters. Gripping from the first page, this does look good, but it's scary. It's big, and the typing is really small, so I'm going to need my light to read this. I hope I like this. I'm reading with Jem, so we need to know when we're going to read it. I don't know when that's going to be read, but it will get read. The next one, right, one that scares me because it took Alice ages to read, Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This is, if we don't count the notes, 875 pages. I've got The Three Musketeers to read by Alexandre Dumas, which I know is Becky from Teacup and the Storyteller's biggest book, favourite book. But I know that Alice liked this, even though it did take her a while to read. The story of Edmond Daniel Dantes, a self-styled Count of Monte Cristo, is still told with consummate skill. The victim of a miscarriage of justice, Dantes is fired by the desire to retribution and empowered by a stroke of providence. I need someone to read this with me. Please, please, can any of you read this with me? I need something to make me read this. It is a stunning Wordsworth Classics edition, which I got in the charity shop. It looks gorgeous. I need to read this. Please, someone read this with me. Now, the next is a book that I was supposed to read last year because Tori from Good Strong Words was reading it, doing a read along of it. It's one of the biggest books. It's actually the biggest physical book on my shelf because the other book is 2 parts. This is Gone with the Wind. It's 1,042 pages. My copy is not great, but I got it from the charity shop, so again, I know lots about it. I know it's a retelling of like Vanity Fair. It won the Pulitzer Prize donkeys years ago. It's talking about the American Civil War. It portrays never believed things. It's got Scarlett O'Hara, which is like one of the ultimate legends. The type is in this is not too big. It's not too small, so it does look good. But feel how big this is. I need to be reading this when my hands are alright. But please, someone read this with me. Do I host a read along of this or do I do a buddy read? Please let me know what you think down below. I would love to know, but I need some help with this. And then finally, the biggest book on my shelves, I've got it in volume 1 and volume 2 because I've got the Wordsworth Classics, Les Mis. I am going to read it next year because I'm going to be gentle with myself. Volume 1, Volume 2, include, if you add these two together, apparently it's 1,463 pages. So yeah, I need someone to read it with me. I need someone to read it with me. It is so big and oh my god, it scares the crap out of me. But it's one I really want to read. I really want to read Les Mis. 2 volumes, it's stunning. It's so stunning and it will be read over a few months. 2 to 3 months, I think. But can someone read it with me? Do I do a read along? What do I do? Let me know. So those are the biggest books. But now I've got 2 chunky books. One of which I have literally started today. So it'll be read by the time this video goes live. And this is a proof copy of, so it's nearly 500 pages. 498 pages. So this is my biggest contemporary, I think. But I'm reading it. It's a proof copy of Other People's Husbands by Elizabeth Noble. This is big, but I'm reading it this month. I don't read big contemporaries very often. But this one is my biggest. And lastly, I bought a book I bought with my Waterstones money. The Embroidered Book by Kate Hartfield. This is one of the biggest books on my shelf. It's 958 pages. It's historical fiction set in 1768. It's about Princess Charlotte, the daughter of the Habsburg Empress. Does anyone want to read this with me? I swear someone's talked about it, but I don't know who. But it looks stunning. So I do want to read this. So, what do you guys think? Do big books intimidate you? Do you want to read them? How do you find the best way of reading them? I'd love to know some hints for how to absorb it more. I'm a skim reader, so I really struggle to absorb this. So let me know how you read your big books. Let me know what you do. And lastly, I'm going to tag some people. Obviously, my sister Charlie Brooke reads. I'm going to tag you. She never does tags, but I can always shout my little sister. Then Angela from Reading Off My Shelf. She does. I'd love to know what books she's got on her shelves and if she reads big books. And then lastly, Marilyn Maya Mendoza, because I would love to know if she's got any big books and if what she does with them. But if you do want to do it and I've not tagged you, please feel free and let me know. Tag me in it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.